author of Moo La La. It's Bruce Sellery, everyone. The Money Sense magazine. Why smart people do dumb things with their money and what you can do about it. We want to talk a little bit about the kids that are...
The kids.
The children. Some of them are going off to school. Some of them are, you know, still in diapers. But either way, we have to start talking about money with them. Why do you want to make sure you talk to your kids going off to college or university about money before they go?
Things can go very wrong very fast.
Really quick.
As you might know. You might have a little indication, insight into this.
Here's the thing. You walk onto the campus and there's these really nice people and they're saying, do you want a credit card?
And they're so friendly.
And
in my day, they gave you a free pen. And I would do anything for a free silver pen. Right. So it's a new environment. There's new experiences, new friends, new expenses, and things can go very wrong very fast. The second reason why I'm so passionate about it is parents aren't great at this. So if they were great, you would think that your kids would learn by osmosis. But many parents out there know that this isn't an area of strength for them. So if they don't really make sure that they teach their kids well, how else are they going to learn?
It's not going to happen. They're not seeing a good example, so there has to be an intention to teach them. Okay, so do you actually start with creating a budget
You
for
do,
kids?
which sounds so boring, and in fact, I don't believe in budgets for the most part, but this is one exception, and a budget is a great tool for a student. It's a tool. This is the most important thing. It is a guide. So, you know, you look at art, you use a microwave. Right. It's a tool. So I don't want you to look at a budget. I want you to use a budget. And here's an example. You've done the budget, and I'll tell you how. You're at school, and you see those really groovy college jackets, and you think, I want one of those. It's so cool. It's pleather. I'm going to look fantastic. And you look at your budget, and you say, where's the money coming from? Right. So I can either increase income, or I can cut spending somewhere else such that I can afford the jacket. You don't just say, jacket, cha-ching, credit card. No.
Right, that's what I did.
Not a good idea.
Yeah,
oops.
Whoopsies.
Yeah.
So are the parents making the budget?
No, the students are making the budget.
The student is
making the budget because they're the one that's going to need to use it. And it's not hard. The parent can be involved. Basically, what you're going to do is add up all the expenses, tuition, books, food, transportation, beer. There will likely be beer, regardless of the age of your child. That should have you could kind of lump it into groceries because there's weed in there. There's weed in there. It's a beverage. And then you also add up all the income, right? So there's going to be maybe scholarships. There's a part-time job. There's money from the parents. There's the RESP. And you look at the whole school year from September to whenever it ends as one thing. So here's what's coming in. Here's what's going out. And ideally, there isn't a gap. Maybe there's a surplus. But if there's a gap, what are we going to do about that?
You either have to make more money or you have you take something off your list,
so you say to your kid, there's a gap. Are you going to get a part-time job during school? Am I, as the parent, willing to pony up more cash? Or are you going to cut money out of that beer budget or grocery budget or whatever it is? Right.
What I do is I would use my book money for spring break.
Of course.
And then I would photocopy my books for class.
You are so creative.
That's budgeting.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. This is a don't.
It all added up at the end of the year.
For a minute.
Now, as the parent, though, do you want to give them just a chunk of, if your parents are giving you the money, do you want to give them a chunk of money for September and they budget it for that month and then you give them a chunk of money for October? Or are you giving them the money for the whole year, or are you the one that is paying the rent directly?
It depends on the kid. Okay. So hopefully this process is an extension of your family culture growing up. So it's not just you're 18, goodbye. Hopefully you've been teaching them some things along the way. So you want to carry on with that teaching. If you've got a kid who's super organized, buttoned down, and they can sort out things, it would be great to help them do the whole thing. So here's the money that's going to go for the year, and let's figure out how you're going to budget it month to month. If you have a child who can barely find their keys, let alone their head, then you're going to need to have some more processes to manage the drip, drip, drip of the money. So maybe you pay the rent directly, maybe you pay the tuition directly out of their money or whatever it is, and give them access to the grocery and food money. So it kind of depends. Here's the big thing. Set expectations. So as a parent to the child, here is what is going to happen on expenses. I'll pay for this. I won't pay for that. Here's what happens in emergencies. I will help you here. I will not help you there. Here's what happens in terms of duration. I will help fund 4 years of education and no more. And lastly, here are the conditions. So parents may set some conditions. And I don't have a moral judgment on those expectations. I just want parents and kids to talk about them so
Right.
that when the hits the fan,
Right.
there's a, yeah, here's what we said would happen if I ran up a $500 credit card bill. My parents said, I will not pay, and the parent must follow through on what they say.
That's the hard
I
part.
have a 3.5-year-old, and this is hard. She won't eat her dinner, and I've said no dinner, no store, whatever deal I have made.
Yeah.
And sticking to it with a 3.5-year-old is brutal. I hear it gets tougher with teens. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine.
Well, the other thing also is that you're dealing with serious things. Like, are you going to let your child fall into debt?
Yeah.
You know, my parents did, but
Right. And what is? Let me ask you.
some
What is
parents might have a problem.
What has been the legacy of that? What is the learning for you?
I'm so much better financially now.
Exactly.
A lot of that has to do with my husband, and I definitely learned lessons
But
the
you
hard
learned.
way. But
Yeah.
I've learned. I
Yeah.
don't ever want to go there again.
Yeah, and we, as parents, it's so hard. I mean, we know. I was at the park the other day with Abby, and there was this kid who wouldn't play with her, and I wanted to just go and, like, either, do something mean, like a wrist burn on the kid or something. I wouldn't do that, but I thought about it. But she needs to learn that on a playground, sometimes kids won't play with her. And it's
Right.
heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So I sat in the corner of the park
And
just
you watched.
watching the lessons learned. It was
that's
terrible.
what we do.
We need to do that with
Yeah, we
kids
do.
with money. Let them make those mistakes, ideally as safely as possible.
What do you do with the young kids to make sure they
Talk
are
about
learning?
money in a positive way.
Okay.
Hey, let's look at how much this costs. Let's decide as a family what we're going to do. And you can begin that quite young. Because one of the things kids need to learn is money is scarce. You don't have to have a whole psychological charge about that, but money is scarce. That's okay. So we just make choices about this or that. So talk about it and include them.
Yeah.
Find a way to include them.
Get them in on the grocery shopping. and
Yeah,
all of
what do
that
you want?
stuff.
Do you want to buy this or that?
Yeah.
Can't buy both. This or that.
This or that. Love that. Okay, everyone in our audience is going to be taking home a copy of the September-October issue of Money Sense magazine. Build your wealth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Sellery, that's great. Thank you so much. Let's go to break. We've got more coming up. Stay with us.